Hello, my lovelies, and welcome back to Sundering Tarot, or if you're new here, hi, hello. Thanks for joining us. This is part 2 of the Sword Suit edition for my 22 favorites from my 2022 deck collection. So this is for the 5 of Swords through the 7 of Swords. So let's go ahead and jump right in here. And I admit I have issues when it comes to the 5 of Swords. This is not anywhere near my favorite card in the entire deck. And it's one of my most difficult cards to contend with when it comes to the sword suit. So we have two that I actually enjoy. We have the Game of Thrones Tarot and the Mermaid Tarot. And I'm sorry, spoiler alert for anyone who's never seen Game of Thrones, so beware. Here's where we see Bran surrendering Winterfell to the Greyjoys because Theon invaded, took over, and demanded that he publicize to everyone in Winterfell that Theon is now in control of Winterfell and no longer belongs to the Starks. It belongs to the Greyjoys. Severe conflict, and this is Bran trying to avoid conflict and save his people. This very much says 5 of Swords to me, and I appreciate them using this particular scene from Game of Thrones for the 5 of Swords. This makes sense to me for one of their choices. And for those that can't see this card, you see all these little kids from the Mermaid Tarot, these mermaids playing in the sea with swords, and somebody's gotten themselves cut, which, you know, is a big deal to a little kid. And you see this cute little penguin with its little flipper on this kid's head trying to comfort this kid who just hurt themselves with a sword. And that is cute. That is adorable. As much as that's painful, and any wound to a child can be literal death, end of the world, you know. It's their hand, it's their finger, it's far from their heart, but just the horror and wound here and the cute little penguin. I'm sorry, but I enjoy the depiction in this particular card just for that. There's the horror attached to it. Yeah, there's strife. There's things at odds and not functioning as they should. But then you get this penguin of there, it's all right. And I kind of enjoy that. All right, moving on to the 6 of Swords. I don't mind the traditional 6 of Swords, but as you can see, most of these in here are a little bit different than your traditional RWS. So we have the Mermaid Tarot, the Lightseer's Tarot, we have the Mystical Cats Tarot, and then we have the Tarot at the end of the rainbow. Okay, so a little bit different. I love the fact that in this Mermaid Tarot, they use the 6 swords to make a sled, and then we have a sea lion pulling him on the sled. So instead of a boat, we have somebody sledding, because the sword suit is associated with the Antarctic and cold. So you see snow and ice and Antarctic creatures in this particular suit to represent the element in this deck. And I like this. So instead of putting a merman or a merwoman or a merchild into a boat, we have them on a sled made of swords. And that is creative, and there's this sense of movement. And I like the fact, you know what, I'm going to pause right there. I want you to take a look of all 4 of these cards. Do you notice something about the perspective? Every single one of these, the person in the boat, or in this case in a cat leaving a fight, they're all coming towards you. So instead of seeing the backside of somebody in a boat going away from you, or seeing the side view of somebody going forward, these are all coming towards you. And it wasn't until I picked all these that I realized that apparently I have an issue with the direction that the person is facing, whether it's in a boat or sled or whatever. When it comes to the Six of Sky, apparently having been past the hard stuff and left it behind and now arriving at the new destination, that perspective is better for me. Apparently that type of artwork and positioning appeals to me better for a perspective. And moving on, the Lightseer share. I love how Chris Ann literally had crows tied to the boat, pulling. So instead of seeing the swords in the boat and her deck, the crows are the swords. The birds represent the swords. So to have the swords pulling the boat it is a little bit different. And you can see shore right here. So this is them trying to land the boat, as in you've arrived. Like I said, the perspective is different. Mystical Cat's Tarot. You literally see a fur flying, a cat fight, and you see this beat up cat just saying, "Peace out. I'm gone. Bye. I've had enough of you. Ain't gonna do it no more. I'm done." And there's a certain emotion and ownership that can be associated. Because when you go from the Five of Swords to the Six of Swords, conflict and then leaving conflict, and this is what you see in this card, I kind of like that. I mean, there's other decks like, I suppose the In-Between Tarot, where you get a difference between an ace and a 2, and a combined 3 and a 4, and a combined 4 and a 5, where you've got the overlapping scenes, so it's in between a 5 and a 6, so you get both elements in the card. Where this, you can clearly see the 5 of Swords in the background. That would be the cat fight. You see all the marks and wounding on this cat, so obviously been a part of the fight, and deciding to remove themselves. So this is the Six of Swords. It's a little bit different take than anything else that I have, and I enjoy that. I really do. And having an affinity with cats, I totally get that for for the cat usage, the cat representation. And the tarot at the end of the rainbow. This deck feels like spring to me. It's very colorful, very bright, and it's mythical creatures. There's a lot of fae and elf energy mixed into it. But I like this, that the fairy's coming towards you, and instead of the swords being in the boat, instead you see these swords like big old statues. So they're literally passing through the swords and to get to the other side. So the swords themselves are kind of a decoration / barrier. This is one of the cards that caught my attention out of this particular deck when I got it, because I was drawn to this deck, but I hadn't seen all the artwork. I didn't do a flip through on YouTube or anything else to go see what the artwork looked like before I bought it. So I just had a couple previews up online, and I bought it without seeing the whole entire deck. So I was pleasantly surprised by that particular Six of Swords from that deck. All right, and last but not least, we have the Seven of Swords for today. I fully admit this isn't the most relatable card to me. In the sword suit, I oftentimes have trouble with it. So I like to have a little bit different aspects than the traditional, hey, I'm going to steal some of your swords and leave some behind. I need something more, basically, to help me with this card. And even then, I need to find a way to make me like it. Because I'm not particularly fond of this card. So we have the Lightseer's Tarot, we have the Soul Cat's Tarot, and we have the Force of Enchantment. I really fell in love for the first time with the Seven of Swords with this Lightseers card. You see all these crows representing swords. You see the moonlight, and you see this shady guy with feathers, obviously taken from the crows, and a sword just going off someplace. You see the cityscape in the background. So this is a thief who's sneaking around at night and trying not to get caught. That is a better depiction for me, and for some reason the color scheme and everything is more relatable to me. Don't ask me why, it just is. And the Soul Cats Tarot, this to me looks more like a guilty thief that just got caught. Which, you know, and sometimes when you have to read, and especially if you're doing like a love reading, liar, cheater, stealer, you find it and you catch them red-handed. That resonates for me. Or a thief held up in you know, a safe house, etc. But this, because of the way the cats pose, reads more like being caught red-handed and feeling ashamed and like, I didn't do that. So this is kind of adorable and endearing and a different outlook to me. And the Forest of Enchantment, you see all these foxes making away with items. There's this campsite, looks like a gypsy campsite, and they're making off with, you know, the accordion, teacup, and a coin pouch, it looks like. You know, I don't mind the fact that these are foxes. I think it would have been more prudent to do raccoons, just because they like to rifle through garbage and everything else and take off with it. But I still appreciate this, even though they're foxes, of them coming into a camp in the middle of the night, finding whatever appeals to them and running away with it. Literally just like, oh, what's this? Oh, wait, I'm going to take that. And the person who actually owns it being in their cabin, in their wagon in this case, or tent if you're out in the woods, being unaware of that they've just had animals thieving their possessions, is comical, endearing, and yet relatable. So agree or disagree? All right, my lovelies, I'm going to go ahead and leave it here for today. I will go ahead and film and upload the Eight of Swords through the Ten of Swords for part 3. That should be up shortly. Go ahead and look out for it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.